You are listening to Words with a Mad Coach. I am Mad Coach. I am Mad Coach. I am Mad Coach. Coach Sess. Coach Sess. I am Mad Coach. I am Mad Coach. I am Mad Coach. Coach Sess. Coach Sess. You are listening to Words with a Mad Coach.
Mad World. Keeping it short this time. One of my favorite things to do is go back and look at the history of mixed martial arts in our area, in the North Carolina area. And of course, you know, I am a big fan of Fight Lab. So I like to go through and take a look at some past shows, the results, get an idea what happened to these fighters, what was going on at the time when these fights were made. And here's the beautiful thing. When you go through and you look at the competition at some of the fights that were scheduled to be on a Fight Lab show, you almost have some foretelling going on in terms of who these athletes would become, because there were little landmarks in terms of what they were able to do at this particular time. And no, everybody doesn't become a world champion. And no, everybody doesn't become famous. But you get a good, strong idea of how well matched these shows were at the time. And the show that I'm paying attention to was Fight Lab 43. It was at the Grady Cole Center. And the headline was Keith Rockstar Richardson versus Rodrigo Lima. And when we start from the bottom of the card, you see some familiar names that were amateurs at the time, but it's also the content of the card that strikes me as being pretty impressive. For instance, there are 11 fights, so that's 22 fighters. And out of these 11 fights, 8 were finishes. Now I know you're thinking, oh, Dan, come on, coach. How could that be a great fight? One-sided fights, blah, 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 blah. No, they were not. The majority of these fighters actually had even records or winning records. I think there were like maybe 3 records that were upside down. And even in one case where the record was upside down, the guy was a multi-time champion or fought for multiple championships, which again tells you the quality of the matchmaking, that they found the right guy, to fight the right opponent. And it's because you're getting championship caliber, championship quality. So 8 fights were by finish, 3 by decision. Of the 22 fighters, 13 of them had either won championships or had been in championship contention. That's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. Also, when I look at the names, I look at Shelton Sales. He just headlined a card at Fight for It 17 at the Grady Cole Center. And this fight took place in January of that year of 2016, I do believe. Check me records. 2015. January of 2015. And so Shelton Sales just headlined the card in 2023. He was on this card way back when. Tony Gravely, who we all know is a Fight Lab staple, is now in the UFC. So again, it tells you who was on this card. And Keith Rockstar Richardson, who has recently become world champion in bare knuckle boxing, was on this card. So you can see, like, if I just go down the list, man, these are some well match fights, and the caliber was just high level. And it just goes to show, like, what happens when you match these cards not trying to cater to one particular gym over the other. And you say, okay, it's up to you to fight. What happens? Somebody breaks out of the pack. A Keith Rockstar Richardson is born. A Tony Gravely is born. Just to give you a quick rundown on who's on this card, I'll start from the bottom up. We have Kyle Martin taking on Shelton Sales, Philip Adams against James Quigg, Wayne Martin against Josh Unga, Duran McDonald against Gregory Smith, who we also just recently saw at Fight for It 17, Rodney Jordan against Tony Gravely, Ashley Greenway against Jessamine Ali, Josh Smith against Michael Whaley, Nicholas Rohick against Yeson Martinez, Mike Stevens against Lawrence Dennis, Cody Gully against Trey Singleton, and Keith Rockstar Richardson versus Rodrigo Lima. Good card. I was there that night. But I did leave early, and I watched the remainder of the show online while I was driving, believe it or not. Got stopped by the police that night, I remember. Yep, they were doing license checks. I think it was close to 1 a.m. I'll never forget. That's how I remember this show. But I just wanted to show you just how well matched that card was. And to show you the impact of, first of all, what Fight Lab brought to the area, and then also just well matched fights against well matched fighters, well skilled fighters. Does a great job of, pushing these guys to the next level. And of course, the show was matched by Michael Allen and promoted by Kitty Letts. I am Coach Sess, and you've had words with the Mad Coach.